Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kenny. We're outside today, folks, and we're not going to be doing a review, but we're going to be doing something that's very much on the menu for a lot of people to do. We're going to show you how to repair an old Intex swimming pool. Now, I have done a review on the Intex swimming pool, and I gave my analysis on it, and I also showed you how to clean it in another video, and I'll post those up here in the left hand corner, and if you want to check them out, go ahead and do that. But I'm going to show you personally a one-on-one way that you can save a lot of money and repair your Intex pool. Now, mine is kind of on the old side, if you will. It's like over 5 years old, and it's kind of rough, if you know what I mean. It's very rusty, but you can take a few steps and save a lot of money. I've looked this pool up. I paid about $1,300 for mine a little over 5 years ago. And now, if you look it up, it's a rectangular, it's a 16 by 32. It cost about $3,300. Now, I can't afford a brand new pool, so I'm gonna fix mine. It's in bad shape. You hang around, if you will, and I'm gonna show you step by step how to do it. The tools you need, let me show you. You'll need a grinder, something like this, and of course you need a drill, something like that, with a big wood bit. But you also need a saw, so you get the point. So we're going to get to work, okay? Now folks, I'm going to give you a clear shot as to what I'm going to be doing right here. Take a look at this. Now, if my camera can get close to that and kind of give you a small picture of what damage there is to this pool. Now, let me turn around here. You can see my shadow, but take a look at these stabilizers. These are totally destroyed. They collapsed on me back in the winter, and I had to totally drain 15,000 gallons of water. Now notice up here, if I can get a shot of that, that is what happens to your Intex pool. And I'm going to tell you, they are cheap, and pardon my language, they are cheap junk. But I don't have $3,300 to pay for a new one, so I'm going to show you a method that you can repair it. But it's not an easy task, and my task is certainly not easy because I've got to maneuver around this deck. Now notice this. It's going to be a tight fit, but my first step I will show you. Let me turn back around. Right here. Let me give you a little clue. If you can spot this, what I'm about to do here is something that it's easy to cut here, but it's difficult to maneuver around. So this is what you do first. Now it's easy. Just remove this thing like this. See, this is the part that's so weak about an Intex pool. And let me get this out of here. This is actually no longer something that's worth much. It's scrap. See this? This is your stabilizer or your rail pole. Take a look at that, folks. Now that is what I'm talking about. It rusts real easy. It's cheap metal, and with a little bit of age, it just collapses. Now I'm going to take this part here, and I'm going to take a 4x4. Now notice what I'm going to do here. I'm using my hands. I'm going to take a 4x4. Now I've cut about 6 inches off of that. I'm going to put about a foot over here. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. I'll take a 4x4 and I'll take my drill and I will put a hole right down into it, and I will slide it up on this probably about 4 or 5 inches and set it back, and that is how you do that. So let's get to work on the 4x4. Now folks, I'm going to show you how I do this. Now keep in mind, I have done this before on the other side of my pool. Taking a foot here, this is about a foot, 4x4 that's treated. You want to use the treated stuff because it will last a whole lot longer. Not as long as it should, but it will last longer. And I marked the spot here, cut it to where, if you can see this, it'll fit on a degree. Like a, probably about, I don't know. Anyway, it's going to sit like that. But here's the technique. And I'll show you one here in a minute, but let me give you an idea. Take a drill and a large wood bit. Now, this will get, it's all in my socks, okay? So we're not worried about that. Make sure you have this here in a position to where it's going to rest on the ground. And you want to take this drill. Now watch me. Take this drill and be careful and do not destroy your hand. So do it like this. You want to make a hole. Not a big spot, but just one big enough. You want to go down about 4 or 5 inches. All right, now I'm going to show you. I've just about got that one ready to fit. But here is my finished product. I have got that piece of metal that is so prone to rust. Now keep in mind, this had a bar down here across it to secure it on the ground, which of course is the block that this will rest on. But this is a secure method that will hold that wall up. The other side is working. It will take me a little while to get all of these. I've got to cut about 2, 4, 6, 8. I gotta do about 10 of these. So it's gonna take just a little while, but we will get her done, okay? All right, now folks, let me show you how I am cutting my 4x4s. Remember I told you we were using these 4x4s to make the actual piece of wood that's substituting for this metal rod or this metal brace, if you will. So we're going to take a chainsaw. You can use anything you want to. Cut it with circular saw, sawzall, etc. So, but this is what I like to do. It's so easy. All right, I think that is the last 2 that I need to cut. So I am really making a lot of progress. Now this to you may seem a little crazy, but you can take that drill. Somebody said, well, why don't you use a chainsaw? Well, that would work to a degree because this is only 4 inches. So you've got to see that that chainsaw tip would actually make the hole too large. So you've got to drill it out to conform to that piece of metal so that it will have some stability here to go down about 4 or 5 inches in that. And trust me, it works. So I've showed you exactly how I'm doing that, so don't forget that, okay? All right now folks, we are coming along really, really well. I am showing you what I have got rigged up here with this, and I've got right over here, you can see, let me focus on these 2. These 2 are extremely rusty, and I'm going to see what I can do with them. I'm trying to salvage those 2. They are the worst of all the ones that I put in, so I have put in about 2, 4, 6, 8 of these all total. And I've got a big old long barn 2x4 down here. I'm sure you can see that. And it's about, I want to say about 14 feet long. And another picture of this, if I could turn this camera around right here. Now you can see out here there is like 4 or 5 of those that did not collapse, so I'm not going to tinker, if you will, with those. Now I've got to pre-drill these holes in that 2x4 in order to get the screws through it, because you cannot put a screw through that stuff. It is extremely hard. And then I will line these up, and then I'm going to show you the final product, okay? All right. Now, I'm getting these very, very even, if it's all possible to do that. Let me say, folks, to you, many of you will say, Kenny, go buy a brand new pool. Well, let me address that little thought, if I may. These things have increased in price like 4, 5, even 10-fold in the past 5 years. And I'm just an average consumer like you that does DIY stuff. And I don't have $3,500 to buy this pool with. That's what it costs. You can look it up on Amazon. It's 16 by 32 and it's 54 inches deep. It's about 15,000 gallons. It's a rectangular, and that's what it cost. About, if you include the tax, about $3,500. And listen, if you are a consumer and you are into saving money, this, many of you will say, that just can't possibly work. This is not Einstein, but I'm telling you, if you don't learn how to utilize the resources that you have available right at your fingertips, if you will always pay the ultimate price for stuff, when in reality, if you just use a little common sense and stuff like this, it's normal for me. I'm telling you, you just can't pay the prices that are, there anymore. I mean, it's ridiculous. So just do something simple. Now, this is as simple and as basic as you can get. And I'm going to put these screws in here, and I'm going to tell you this will work. I've got the other side, and I'm confident. Let me get my screws here, my thing. There we are. Now these are, I hate this crazy Phillips head on these things, but they are in place. There we are. I'm going to keep right on going here. I'm in a very tight spot. Now I've already pre-drilled these things, so they are not so difficult to do. Now, I've had an extreme working position here because it's so tight. But I'm coming along. Now let me lay my tools down so you see what I'm saying to you. Sometimes in a financial crunch, a man's got to do what a man's got to do. All right now, folks, we are done. I want to give you a clear shot of this. Many of you will say, come on, Kenny, you can't be serious. Folks, listen, where is your faith? Where is it? Listen, this doesn't look like a tremendous work of art. It doesn't look very pretty, if you will. But for all of you that are skeptic and saying to yourself right now, that guy's crazy, that will not work. All right, let me challenge you to look in a future video, because I'm going to clean this pool out. I've got to do that, and I've got to fill it with water. Now when I do that, I will come back with an update and say, hey, take a look at this that you doubted that it would work. And I'm going to say to you, you will be a little bit surprised and maybe even shocked. But that's the way that I do this. That's the way that I put it together. Now the other side is already done. So I'm going to say to you, wait until I bring the new update to you before you judge whether or not that this will work. So I'm going to turn this camera around and I'm going to close this video out, and I'm going to say I have enjoyed this. It's took me about a day to really do this because it's so tight here and very hard to do, very hard to work. The circumstances being that this deck is here, it made it really, really rough. So I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give us a big thumbs up. And listen, you have a blessed day.